You know, you're going to have to shut up or I'm going to have you arrested.
We're going to have a little fun tonight. We're going to talk about some terrible things, but we'll have fun anyway.
It'll feel like 10 times the best orgasm. Come on, join us, plug in. It's going to happen.
Howdy, folks. The Anti-Partisan John Means here from NoPartySystem.com. And, you know, surprise, surprise, tonight I want to talk about partisanship. And, you know, I point out so often how so many people in this counter media and the YouTube community, they talk about partisanship and ideology being the problem, but not only do they not want to seem to let it go, but they just go ahead and like rebrand whatever they think their flavor of partisanship is. And it's a huge problem, you know, and when I talk about partisanship, for me it's a much broader concept. It encompasses social partisanship, religious partisanship, and political partisanship. And I am anti-partisan in all those realms. But when you say partisanship, what people first attribute it to is political partisanship. Which is my primary, you know, objective is to, especially to break this dichotomy of partisanship, the two-party system in America. But the partisanship, you know, in relation to political parties, it goes much deeper than people even realize. And it's, you know, it's not something anybody talks about. So I want to show you something that, you know, I've been keeping my eye on for years now, but it's something you're not going to see in mainstream media. They're not going to talk about it. Alt media, counter media, like nobody is on this. Nobody understands the nature of political partisanship and the way it's growing. So take a look at this, and it's a Wikipedia page, real simple. A list of political parties in the United States. And there's a lot of real interesting stuff here, real interesting stats, particularly in regards to just how dominated we are by this two-party system. And I'm not going to bother going over these stats because I don't want to do a really long video. But when you get down to the section of the major political parties and the minor political parties, you'll notice they have little sections, when they were founded, what their ideologies are. So these ones for the smaller one, former titles. But notice this last column, international affiliations. And we see it, you know, randomly down a lot of these parties. These are international organizations that they are part of. And, for example, the Republican Party is part of the International Democrat Union. And, you know, I'll go ahead and glance through some of this stuff. The International Democrat Union is an international alliance of center-right political parties headquartered in Oslo, Norway. The IDU comprises 71 full and associate members from 63 different countries. Goes on to give a little bit of the background here, including how the group was founded in 1983 as an umbrella organization for the European Democrat Union, as well as others, and created at the instigation of the Konrad Adenauer Foundation, I don't know who that is, and U.S. Vice President George H.W. Bush. Interesting name to have there. But we see now that this is a big list of center to right political parties from, what was it, 63 different nations that these parties come from. And I mean, we see, you know, China on the list. We see some other ones that are frankly surprising. Venezuela. And we'll notice on the list, too, that some of these are listed as in government, some in opposition, senior in coalition, junior party and federal government coalition. So there's different statuses, which I really haven't been able to find and understand what those statuses mean. But as we see, just glancing over it, this is the International Coalition of center to right political parties. Pop back to the political party page and look at the Democrat Party. Their international affiliations is the Progressive Alliance. The Progressive Alliance is a political international of social democratic and progressive political parties and organizations founded on May 22nd, 2013. The Progressive Alliance claims 140 participants from around the world. So 140 different political parties, and many of them, some of them doubled up in some particular nations, but a lot, over 100 separate nations individually, their liberal and progressive, their leftist parties, are all part of this coalition, the Progressive Alliance. We see as well, a lot of them are listed in opposition, extra parliamentary opposition. When we get down to the United States, we notice it's listed as in opposition, but then over in the little info category it says in government in 17 states and some territories. I wonder what territories, maybe Washington, D.C.? Also worth noting while we're right here, the United Kingdom, the Labour Party. It's also listed in opposition, but it says in government in the Welsh Assembly, holds the London mayoralty and majority party on London Assembly. So definitely affiliated with American and European leftist parties. And what's the big point? Am I, sitting here trying to start some other conspiracy theory on this? Well, no, it's clearly, these are coalitions of political parties that are making agreements that are talking about regulations and policies across borders completely outside of governmental bodies. And for most governments, including the United States, that's illegal. So much is going on that's illegal that, not surprised no one really cares. But I have to wonder what it amounts to, And as I sit here with my goal of bringing down the Democratic Republican Party, seeing this larger international coalition of partisanship, it really dawns on me, and I really believe that I think the Democrats and Republicans are going to be gone in 20 to 30 years anyways, no matter what. Because there's this new superstructure of partisanship going in place. And it will come to dominate these countries over political lines. And you should go look at the page I was at. Just search U.S. political parties, and you'll stumble right onto it. As you look at it, you keep an eye on it over a couple years like I have, and you'll see there's less and less parties that are in opposition. More and more they're lining up, more and more they're agreeing on their ideologies. And when these parties amongst the world power nations start really aligning as to their goals, they are going to displace the existing party structures. And it's at that point it's going to be very Orwellian. So this is something I just wanted to make a video about. It's something I've talked about in the past, but I want to keep it, have a little something specific on it. I'd love to hear people's thoughts on it. Is this something you were even aware about? Have you ever heard of this before at all? Let me know what you think. As usual, let me know if there's anything else you want to talk about. Please hit the like and the subscribe button, and right next to the subscribe button is a little bell. If you click on it, you'll get the notifications when we go live and when we upload videos. And as always, please check out the website, nopartysystem.com. Thanks a bunch for listening, everybody. Peace.